Yo, what's going on, guys? Seth Spartan here, guys. We are back, and today we're going to be talking about what TRT versus anabolic steroids. We're going to be talking about the truth of the matter. We're going to be talking about pros, cons, comparison, everything, and try to get you guys out of here in less than 7 minutes. We'll try, but no guarantees. So, guys, first and foremost, let's get into TRT versus anabolic steroids. Really, honestly, guys, what do you need to know? Well, I'm going to say this. You are not going to look as good, as crazy on TRT as you're going to look on anabolic steroids, period, okay? I'm going to lay out this video, not withholding the pros, not withholding the cons. I'm not recommending anybody do any of this stuff, whether legal or illegal in your country, whether with a prescription, without a prescription. I'm just giving you guys the facts, and you guys can do what you're going to do. Having said that, guys, TRT versus anabolic steroids. TRT, you're going to look good, but you're not going to look as good, as crazy, as vascular. You're just not going to look, if we're talking about bodybuilding, fitness, athletics, but especially bodybuilding, you're not going to look as good on TRT as anabolic steroids. And guys, that's the truth of the matter. Punchline made, point made. Having said that, and let me extend out on this for a second. What do I mean you're not going to look as good on TRT as anabolic steroids? On anabolic steroids, you're going to be bigger in general in terms of muscle mass, more full in terms of glycogen stores, more vascular, and that's going to make you look leaner and bigger as well. And ultimately, you're just going to be bigger, denser, and fuller. I'm not talking about super watery compounds. I'm talking about, whether it's Test, Anadrol, Anavar, excluding water retention. You're just going to be bigger in general, more muscle mass, bigger, fuller, more vascular, and you're just going to look a lot crazier. You're going to look absolutely, that's going to be the extent of, just in terms of human performance and capabilities and just looking crazy. Anabolic steroids is going to beat out TRT, period. Okay, that's just the way it is. And that's pretty much it. And obviously, I can talk as I'm doing it varies depending on my weight, but 200 to 250 testosterone cypionate per week for testosterone replacement right now through my clinic. Having said that, that's number one. Okay, number two, TRT versus anabolic steroids. In terms of, let's talk about strength. Are you going to be as big? Or well, we talked about that. In terms of strength, okay? Same exact thing. Strength. TRT versus anabolic steroids, you're going to be strong. You're going to be stronger than where you would be naturally, especially if you're boosted at the very top or above or slightly over the top of the normal range like me. But again, strength-wise, guys, honestly, you're not going to be anywhere near as strong on TRT versus anabolic steroids, okay? A quick comparison would be, again, do everything legally, safely under doctor supervision. I talk about when I was, getting lots of scripts for amounts over TRT. And I'll tell you guys this plain and simple. Me on, anabolics, we're talking, and I'm not going to give out dosage because I don't want to, I don't want people to replicate. I'll talk, go watch my video, The Truth About Anabolic Steroids. I lay out health concerns and health problems I had in length. Watch that. Please do that. Anyways, having said that, me on anabolics, we're talking about, in terms of strength, we're talking about, over a 500-pound bench press, around 500, slightly over. And then, me on TRT, we're talking about maybe 430, 450, about 4. So, there is a big difference in strength. And obviously, I wasn't going for strength, but in terms of bodybuilding, there is a difference in terms of strength. But the biggest difference is, well, it depends what you train for, but huge difference between size, huge difference between strength, everything I've talked about so far. So anabolics over TRT in terms of strength. And, it's probably obvious to powerlifters or strongmen that are watching my channel. Moving on, let's talk about leanness. Whether it's testosterone or anabolic steroids, guys, and this is the plain, honest truth. I've done comparisons between HGH and testosterone. The plain, honest truth is that HGH is going is going to do far more than anabolic steroids would ever do for fat loss, okay? Human growth hormone or human growth hormone peptides, whatever's increasing HGH levels, whether it's synthetic or natural in the bloodstream. But here's the gist of the matter, guys. Just being honest with you guys. Fat loss, TRT versus anabolic steroids. Yes, HGH is major effect on fat loss, and whereas testosterone has a minor. But if you're taking, grams, I'm not recommending this, but if you're doing grams of testosterone or anabolics, especially DHT derivatives such as Anavar, Winstrol, Anadrol, these are much stronger at burning fat loss, burning fat tissue than even testosterone, or even if you're doing grams of test. Guess what? That minor effect on fat loss starts to become not major, but mid-range. You're going to start getting noticeable fat loss. Anavar is a crazy fat burner. I talk about this in another video. Having said that, and Anavar is the most powerful fat-burning steroid in existence too. Okay, go watch Anavar Unleashed if you haven't seen that. I break down Anavar perfectly. Having said that, so we already talked about size, we talked about strength, we talked about vascularity. Let's talk about this, and I'll get out of here. Let's talk about the cons. All right, the simple cons, TRT versus anabolic steroids. What's the truth of the matter? Guys, you're not going to feel, and I can say this, well, that's less important, but I'm going to say this quick first. In terms of the whole picture, in terms of lifestyle, sleep, everything, I think on TRT, me on 250 milligrams of test sip a week, I feel great. I look great. I'm healthy. Everything is just perfect. Praise God. I don't feel as much of a beast in the gym, as much as just invincible. But guess what? I sleep way better on TRT. I just, in terms of a well-rounded pitcher, me 24 hours, over a 24-hour period, I feel better on TRT than I could ever feel on, if I was taking tons of tests or anything else. Okay, so that's that, okay? In terms of major health things, I'm just going to touch on this because I talk about this in all my videos. The two biggest things that you cannot completely get rid of with anabolic steroids, which is not existent with TRT anymore, pretty much non-existent, is what? What's the two big problems with TRT versus anabolic steroids? With anabolic steroid use or abuse, what's going to happen? Number one is thickening of the heart wall thickening, which basically your muscles are going to hypertrophy to a large extent on anabolic steroids, obviously, depending on dosage. But guess what? Your heart's also going to hypertrophy. It's a muscle too. It's a cardiac muscle. It's full of AR receptor sites, androgen receptor sites. And, what's going to happen is dosage taken plus time on, period. What's going to happen is your heart is going to hypertrophy and thicken. What happens then? Your heart becomes less efficient, less effective at beating. Why? Because you're changing the shape and structure of your heart. And this is what kills a lot of bodybuilders. The second problem with anabolic steroid use and misuse is what? None other than plaque buildup in the arteries. And, between these two things, and that's another reason why heart attacks die, they clog their arteries. I'm not, there's other things you can do, but like eat McDonald's every day, bad diet, eating a Sam Sulek diet. There's a lot of things that you can do to plug up your arteries, without, anabolic steroid use or misuse, independent. But, there's one thing that happens on anabolic steroids is plaque buildup in the arteries. And I'm going to touch on why, because people don't seem to, I'll have to break this video off and do another video, but I want to explain this real quick for you guys. Please pay attention. From everything that I have gathered, okay, the reason why plaque buildup occurs in the first place in the human body, and yes, there's a genetic component to that, but the main reason plaque buildup in the arteries occurs is what? High blood pressure and also high blood sugar. Those are the two reasons. Now, why? If you could eat as much, let's say I eat a huge pack of bacon, or I eat, a stick of butter, right? This is a great example. If I eat, doesn't matter how much fat I eat, right? Let's say I eat the fattiest steak. Let's say I eat 2 pounds, 3 pounds, 10 pounds of steak that day, or butter, or whatever. It doesn't even matter. Let's say I eat tons and tons of fat. Yeah, I'm going to get fat, but the thing is that fat is not going to stick. The fat does not normally stick to your artery walls. Your artery walls are smooth, and fat will not stick to your artery walls unless what? Wait for it, unless they're damaged. This is what I have gathered over years of just digging in this. So a normal artery, you can eat, or normally, I'm not recommending people to eat tons of fat, but if you eat tons of fat, no problem. You're not going to clog up your arteries. When the reason your arteries get clogged is because the fat, which normally doesn't matter how much you eat, just flows throughout your bloodstream. It doesn't attach to the artery or vein wall. What ends up happening, though, is the reason why plaque buildup occurs in the first place is why? Because if you have a damaged blood vessel wall, if you have a damaged artery, guess what? Then all of a sudden, the fat is going to stick to the artery wall, namely, mostly in the form of what? LDL. There's nothing wrong with LDL, and high LDL, low LDL, it matters only if you have damaged artery walls. That's why, so, okay. So I want to just end on this note. Okay. So the reason that plaque buildup occurs in the first place, the fat and the cholesterol the LDL, namely sticking to your vein artery wall, mostly arteries, is going to be why? Because of damage. Why is there damage? Both by high blood sugar and also high blood pressure. That damages the arteries, and thereby, if you eat lots of fat or you have high LDL, then it will stick. But you could have high LDL and be completely and totally fine and have no plaque buildup if you have healthy veins and arteries. But guess what? If you have damaged arteries, it doesn't matter if you have low LDL or high LDL or high fat, low fat, the plaque's going to stick to it. However, if it's damaged in the first place, guess what? You're obviously, the fat that's going to be sticking to it is going to be occurring at a faster rate if you have higher levels of fat. So hopefully I explained that good enough. Guys, that's pretty much it. Seth Spartan, stay safe, stay healthy, giving you guys all the best information as normal. Keep the questions coming. And honestly, guys, take care of your body. God only gave you one. Keep your blood pressure nice and low and healthy. That's my first tip to you guys. And the second thing is that eat low carbs. If you eat tons of carbs, your insulin will bring your blood sugar down. But every time you get this big spike in blood sugar, guess what happens? Your artery walls are getting damaged. That's why, one thing about carnivore keto is that you're keeping your blood, you're letting your blood vessels be healthy. Again, high blood pressure damages artery walls and large spikes in blood glucose. Seth Spartan again, stay safe, stay healthy. We are out of here looking big today. Boom.